All right, we are live. All right, welcome YouTube. Hopefully, we've got to get some people tuning in here. This is Brian. My YouTube channel is Texas Treasures. This is my friend Josh, who just created a YouTube channel, JJ Fashion and Books. We are both resellers, primarily selling on eBay. Um, we also do some Poshmark, and this is the first live I've had in probably a year, so I'm a little rusty. If you guys out there, if y'all have any questions, comments, throw them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them. We're both six-figure resellers on eBay. Plus, um, I guess I'll introduce myself, and I'll let Josh go ahead and introduce themselves. Uh, Hi, hey, Akeisha, long time no see. Glad to see you joining us tonight. Um, like I said, I'm a six-figure seller on eBay and Poshmark. I sell primarily pre-owned clothing and shoes. Um, as I said, I haven't done YouTube. It's been about a year. I'm getting back into it. That's today. We're going to be talking about goals. Well, I can put that as a banner too. We're going to be talking about goals. We can take any questions that you have about eBay or reselling. We'll try to answer them. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce Josh. Do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself, Josh?
Yeah, my name's Josh Payne. I just recently started a YouTube channel, and I'm slowly putting out. I'm still learning. I'm still new in the YouTube era, but I'm slowly putting out good content and talking about me and where I'm at and how I got there. But yeah, like Brian said, I'm also a six-figure reseller, and I have been for a couple years now. And really honored and privileged for this opportunity. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Oh, not a problem. When Akeisha had a good question, or if we're focusing on goals, but here, let me scroll this ticker. Uh, but I think before we do that, it probably is good to recap 2023. So forward facing, didn't even really think about that. So yeah, we will recap 2023 for sure. I guess that's a good place to start, right? 2023. How? Well, I guess I'll start. For me, 2023 reselling wise was disappointing, as I've been talking to you, Josh, about behind the scenes. I mean, I still did six figures. Between everything, I grossed about 158K. But my eBay numbers were down. Like 2 years ago, and I've posted this as a reminder. In 2021 on eBay, I did 148. Last year, this 2023, only did 113K. So those numbers are going backwards. Now, my Posh numbers did pick up, which kind of helped offset things. But I spent some time digging into that data, like that best year, because you're supposed to, when things are working, you should stick with that and double down. I have a problem. I have squirrel brain, as our friend Chris would say, and I always want to try different things because I think anything can work. But what was working for me in 2021 was jeans, men's jeans, women's jeans, and Western wear. Um, and then I look at my numbers last year. My top categories were all shoes, but none of them were nowhere near what I was doing with jeans and Western wear. So, well, that's almost a segue. You can probably see where I'm going with goals. But so for me, recapping 2023, it was disappointing. I can be my own worst enemy, and so I think I need to learn from those. I need to learn those lessons and make some changes into 2024. Josh, how about 2023 for you? How was your year?
Um, it was so I would say that it was okay. It was good. I I made some goals, and one challenge that I had in 2023 was I moved, and I went from, so I was in a warehouse, and I moved into a rental property. So, 24-foot box truck, a lot of shipping supplies, a lot of eBay items, a lot of racks. It was 3 trips in a 24-foot box truck.
It's a lot of work.
And it was super hot. I moved in July and I had a lot of help. But we got it done. And that wasn't the challenge. That wasn't the challenging part. The challenging part was getting organized after I got moved in. And so, but overall, I learned a lot. Another thing that I learned is that I could share on. I never took this is more advanced eBay, because a lot of your goals and what you're sourcing and if you should niche down or niche up depends on what your storage situation looks like. And I learned that the hard way. I'm like, it got to a point where maybe at around SKU 9,000, 10,000, I was thinking I'm going to run out of room in this warehouse, and what should I do? I still don't have a plan for the old stuff like SKU 1,000, 2,000. And I I did some yard sales that summer, and I don't particularly like that, but it was a good what I need to do to stop that. And I seen Aikisha put a comment that she quit reselling and she wanted to get into crafts and investing. I'm sorry to hear that, but I hopefully it's a decision for the good. It's not for everyone. But you're always welcome back.
Yeah, she said, I stopped posting around June, just a few items sold, maybe $400 in 2023. I have a crafting channel and I invest in crypto and a few stocks. Now,
I can relate in the crypto. Keisha, I do that as well.
So, yeah, we got to figure out, there's different ways we can obviously make money and spend our time. And we got to figure out what's the best mix for each of us. I do like I guess we're kind of segueing into goals here. It's hard not to talk about this and talk about goals. So, well, I'll just go ahead and bring it up. So I've got a few goals in 2024, and then we can kind of talk about this. So I want to do 200,000 gross or more, and I expect eBay to do the majority of that, and then Poshmark has been strong for me in Q4. Hopefully Poshmark keeps coming up. And I like what you said, Josh, earlier. Like it's one thing to have a goal, but what are some action steps? What do I need to do to make that happen? Well, and I guess sub goals, right? I also want to be a top 20 seller in jeans, women's jeans, hopefully men's jeans. I'd like to be in both of them, but at least one of them I want to be a top 20 based on the eBay's quality listing report. And I know what it takes, because I've done it before. It takes consistency, right? I have consistency down as a reseller, but I've been changing things up too much. So for me, this year, I need to stay the course all year. Just focus on those categories that work for me. Use jeans, men's and women's. Use men's pants, and menswear and Western wear. Now, shoes are very profitable. One thing I will say, a positive of 2023, my ASP was way up from year over year. But what I found the problem with was finding, cleaning. Oh, cleaning shoes is the worst. Photographing and listing shoes, I just couldn't do the same volume that I can do with jeans. So I have hired, and Josh and I've talked about this, I've hired a virtual assistant who's helping me with my listing. So I take the pictures. She creates the drafts on my, well, they say on my schedule. I go in, review them, launch them live. We're currently at 33 per day. We're going to be adding one per day per week. So at the end of this year, I should be in the 80s. And if I follow that blueprint, if I'm growing between 33 to what is that, 85 by the end of the year, and I'm picking up stuff that will sell, within my metrics, which for me, clothing's a little slower. I'm okay if it sells within a year, and I'm okay with profit of $10 or more. So if I stick with that by the end of the year, I think I should be able to reach my goal. And so I posted this over here to fight my squirrel brain, to not get sidetracked, and that's what I need to focus on in 2024. Let me go over these comments real quick, Josh, and I want to hear your thoughts. Any feedback maybe you have for me, and then what, your recap of 2023 real quick, and I think you kind of did that, and then your goals for 2024. Akeisha says she's renting a warehouse now, making more space for crafts and other business items. Warehouse, you can do a lot of crafts. I'm curious what type of crafting we're doing. I like it. I don't like doing crafts, but I like that you're following your passion. Hey, Tommy, speaking of shoes, this is a big shoe reseller right here. Tommy says, buy on data, not gut or influencer recommendations, and you will never have a problem. That's a great point, Tommy. Follow the data. As Tech told me, follow the money, right? And following the money is, you follow the money by following the data. That's great advice, Tommy. And Akeisha says she's been investing in crypto since 2017. Same thing. That word consistency and everything will get you there. All right, Josh. What are your thoughts?
I came up with a goal and some action steps to help get there. So this year, or I'm sorry, in 2023, I did 158,000 in eBay gross, and I did 56 net. That's like just my payouts for Amazon. That's mostly books, and so I'm not sure what that gross number is yet. But I only came up with a goal on eBay, which is 225, and that means that I'm gonna have to sell more and grow more, and perhaps sell at a higher profit margin. And I came up with 3 plans of actions on how to get there.
Okay. All right. So before you go into those, all right, just to recap. So 158 gross on eBay. I think you said 56 on Amazon. So what's that? The low 200. So you're looking to do 225. Is that total next year or just on eBay?
Just on eBay.
Oh,
yeah.
Big goal. I like it.
So I feel like that's realistic to go from 158 to 225, and we'll see. But here's my my 3.
Before you get into that, and I do want to hear this, but I'm just thinking, because if I've got these questions, maybe other people out there do too. So can you kind of share your eBay business model, like maybe your niches you sell in, your business model, like what is the ASP, the net profit, listings per day, like where are you now as far as your business model, and what is that business model going to need to look like in 2020?
Okay, so I'll get the weird thing out of the way first, which is books. I do a few replenishables, and books I source from overseas. I only sell Spanish books, and
bueno.
I sell new books. So I I grew leaps and bounds in that since the pandemic. And the last thing that I have to report, and I guess I should make a YouTube video about it, but I got a pallet shipped from Dominican Republic to Reading, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm located. And it took a long time. There were a lot of delays, but I'm grateful for that. So for clothing, I sell mostly jeans. I bet about 75% of my store is jeans. I do men's jeans, jackets, sweaters, a few t-shirts, a few polo shirts, a few button-up shirts. And then for women's, the same thing. I try not to do dresses or tops, but I'll do sweaters here and there, and I'll do skirts because they're similar to shorts, and I'll do jackets and blazers. But about 75 to 80% of my store's denim. And I also do the career pants and the chinos and the dress pants because that's very similar as well. Same process. And I have a small portion of shoes. I do like selling shoes, but I have the reason that I don't do only shoes is just because I can't get many of them at all. So out of my 7,700 items, there's about 100 shoes on there.
And let me clarify maybe for people out there. I mean, we speak the same language, right? But some people may not know the lingo. So when you keep using the word process, right? So that's important because that builds efficiency, right? You have a photography area set up where if you're selling light things, it's going to fit in that. It's going to be streamlined. It'll be quick to take the photos, your measurements, bagging them up, inventorying them, your storage, all this ties in together. That's why process is important. You don't have to niche down, but niching down does make your life easier, right? It's hard to list a pair of jeans, then list a bowling ball, then list a vacuum cleaner, then list a baseball bat. That's hard, and I've done that in the past, and it's really hard to inventory and store all that. So, like right now, I'm very much like you, Josh. I'm mostly jeans. I do have some menswear, some shirts, some sweaters, and whatnot, because that's in the same process. I have my light box behind me. It's a big giant light box where I just have to switch the hanger to go from tops to jeans. But I'll tell you this, the beautiful thing, like when I'm doing just all jeans, it's like you get into a rhythm, right? Everything's into a rhythm, and the listing process becomes easier too. When you list the same jeans day after day after day, like when you list an American Eagle artist boot cut jean, I bet you don't have to go to Terapeak, do you, Josh? You already know what the market is. You already know the keyword.
It becomes easier, and it's also experience. By the way, Aikisha, I just subscribed to your YouTube channel because my son likes crafting a lot, so that'll give us an activity to do while watching some of your videos. But yeah, process is important. I learned a lot from the book, The One Thing and Atomic Habits. Those two books, I could honestly say they changed my life. Because it's one thing if you have like 3 pairs of jeans to list, but if you go to my eBay, I have 24,000 items sold. I'm on SKU 18,000. So when you get, there's a book called Mastery that when you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you become a master at it. And that's my goal, just for it to be like automatic clockwork. subconscious mind, and that's how you get to the point where you could do 100 per day and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what we mean by process, and I apologize if I'm
No,
if I
nothing to
talk.
apologize for. I'm just kind of translating because I'm thinking, because this question here, let me answer David's question because it relates to what we're saying. We speak the same language. Josh and I met. We were part of Chris Lynn's group early on, even before he joined up with Tech. And of course, their group has split. A couple of months ago, they split up. And David's question, yo, Big B, that is my nickname. I'm a big guy, Brian, Big B. Happy New Year. How did you end up staying with Chris, or did you move with Tech, or are you gonna stay with both? So Josh and I just talked about this week. Josh and I, we met in Chris's group, and we were in both groups over the past couple of years. When they split up, man, there was a lot of drama within the group. To be honest, I I I struggled with it because I started with Chris, but yet Tech is the number one eBay seller. Chris would even admit that, and Tech does have probably the most knowledge. If you want to grow a business, eBay or otherwise, Tech honestly is the best place to go. At the time, I was doing just shoes, and I reached out to Chris. I was going to stay with Chris, but at that time, he wasn't. He told me he didn't have any plans of having a dedicated shoe call. A couple of weeks after I talked to him and I left the group, I joined Tech's group. I found out he did create a shoe call, but I understand he was in chaos management at that moment. So I stayed with Tech for a month. And to be honest, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, I'm just really disappointed in myself. Like I should be so much further ahead of where I am reselling. I have all the knowledge. I've been around both of these guys, they're both great, and I've learned a lot, but I haven't implemented it. So I pulled out of both groups. So I'm currently, David, in neither group. I will be rejoining Chris's group, but I'm kind of making myself develop some consistency and hit some goals before I go back in. Because it's kind of hard. I don't know. Maybe it's just an ego thing, right? When I see new people come into the group and they kill it, and I know I should be killing it, but I'm not killing it because of my own actions. So, long story short, I'm in neither group. I will be joining back to Chris's group just out of loyalty, I think. And I can only be in one group. My brain can only handle it. It would be good to be in both groups, but I clicked better with Chris and Chris's style. It's a little bit more laid back. It's easier for me. Where Tech is more like the drill sergeant, which is great. He's going to whip you into shape, but I don't know. So that's where I'm at as far as that. Ooh, there's a lot of comments. You got any thoughts on that? I guess let me just read through these. Let me read through these, Josh, and then I want to hear your thoughts. I'm not going to go into details. I just want to
go ahead. I responded to a couple of the comments.
All right. Thank you. Tommy said he's talking about Go-Go Gadget, cover band, play down in Dewey Beach, Delaware. Sounds like fun. Akisha says, that's my problem. I had everything, tons of postcards. It is hard to do everything. You can, but it's hard. Here's my buddy Clay. He says, of course, Clay's always a wise ass. He says, my goal is to sell an uncertain number of items this year. Yeah, we know Clay. Clay's not big into the consistency. You were talking about Atomic Habits, and the one thing I think those should be read every year. There's so much good stuff there. Clay's making another joke about Oppenheimer and Atomic Habits. Josh is answering some questions. Let's see, Josh. Yeah, answering questions. Hey, Val, my friend. Speaking of reselling, we're just talking about our year in 2023 and our goals for 2024. Why don't you share yours in the chat, Val? Val's done quite a few lives with me, and if you want to join, Val, no pressure. Let me know. You could join our conversation too. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that because Chris is a friend, and I'm not going to talk bad about either of them. Okay, all right, go ahead, Josh. What are your thoughts?
Oh, so I I feel like you're good with either group. Chris's group, you'll do great in Chris's group. You'll do also just as good in Tech's group. Um, I've been with Chris for like 3 years. That's how I met Brian. But I decided to join Tech's group, and it's just I there's going to be pluses and minuses to both, but I'm super focused on clothing selling. Um, if you're more focused on YouTube, you'll do great. Chris's group's probably better for that. I know Tech has a YouTube call with Mel that I've been watching. So yeah, Val, I'm Josh. You missed my introduction, I guess, but Brian and I, we've known each other for a few years, so we're starting to do some videos together. But yeah, you'll be good in either group. They're both great people and great leaders, and they both do big numbers compared to me. So if you want what they have, then you do what they do. So I'm in Tech's group, just trying to get another sale.
And I will say, like, you're right, either group, Chris's group or Tech's group, they're formatted basically the same. You got all the dedicated calls, you got the Zoom rooms, you get a sense of community, which is really important. As a lot of us know, reselling can be very lonely. I have a lot of people I talk to that are resellers that I've met in the group that I message on Facebook. Josh is one of them. So yeah, you can't go wrong in either group. Maybe it's just a stylistic question. But yeah, you're right. Tech does have the most like information on eBay clothing selling. Chris is now doing Whatnot and Poshmark, so he's not on eBay, but there are a lot of people in his group. He has experts in the niches too. I was the book club. I was the book club coach. I guess that's what they call it, coach. Where we were going over, like you were talking about atomic habits and the one thing. So I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point, but either group is beneficial, and I think you would go far if you join the group and you take it seriously and you take action, because you could be successful in being in either group. To be honest, like we have the information. Like I'm not in either group right now, and I really don't even need to be. I know what I need to do. There is a certain point where it's just you just got to do it, you know. But especially if you're learning or if you want that community, it's helpful. All right, let me catch up on the chat, and we'll talk more about 24 goals. You guys out there, if y'all tell me your goals. Clay says being in Chris's group is the right thing to do. You know how I feel about Tuck and him starting a group, taking people from his supposed friend. Yep, I know how you feel, and I understand that. Val says, I'm not sure with the goals. I haven't really thought about it. All of December has been crazy, but I'm getting back on track. Well, if there's anything I can help you with, Val, to get you back on track. Oh, I guess another goal I have, it's not reselling, it's YouTube. I want to get back to YouTube in 2024. Whether I'm monetized or not, I miss the community, and I like helping people with the knowledge I have. So I'm making videos again. I'm currently working on a jean series where I'm going over the top 40 selling men's jeans on eBay based on volume, and I'm doing like a deep dive. Like these are things we do in the group where you do a deep dive, right? You look at the brand, you look at the sell through, you look at the ASP, you dig deeper within that brand. What are the models? Like Josh and I were talking about American Eagle, right? And the artist model. And so I'm making those. So if y'all, anybody wants to support, maybe watch and like, it could help. It is hard starting almost back from zero on YouTube. Akeisha says, I wanted to clear up my shopping go sticky papers, postcards, trading cards, bulk paper, items, books. Never got to actually doing it. I got inventory. Maybe one day. Be careful. That maybe one day is a dangerous thing. But I hear you. Clay says, "Hey Val, meant to text you, and I still will later pick the dog up, get him fixed. I'm doing okay." Clay's talking. Clay's doing a lot of dog stuff. Dogs are great. I listened to a podcast this week, and like there was medical experts that apparently there's data coming out, and I haven't read the article, but based on what I heard, he said owning a dog um, can increase your life expectancy. He said 8 years. That seems like a lot, but dogs are great. Val says, I like my workflow routine, but I like to figure out a way to incorporate YouTube into my schedule without messing up my reset. That's why I quit YouTube, Val. I think we can talk about this. I got some ideas on this. A lot of it comes to atomic habits and the one thing. You have to build it as part of your schedule, where it's a routine where you don't have to think about it. That's what I'm trying to do. But what pays the bills is reselling. So you can't let your one thing, you can't let your most important thing go while you add on something else. Clay's driving Lyft a lot. I know Clay kills it on the rideshare business. If you need a ride in the DFW, hit up my man Clay. All right, I think we're about caught up. Okay. So did we cover? See, this is what I was telling you, Josh. When you get the third person being the chat, it can it's the third person coming in. So did we hit everything we wanted to hit on goals, or was there something we missed?
Oh, and right now I'm at 27 a day, and I have a more conservative increase goal compared to Brian's. My goal is just to increase one per month. That way it's slow growth. I'm not going to go broke increasing once a month. It's realistic, and Brian's goal is aggressive for me, and I hope he does it and kills it. But for me, that's a bit aggressive. That's all.
Well, you know what, John? I was thinking about that. It does sound very aggressive, but you know what? In 2021, and Clay knows he was around during this process. I don't know what I was listing myself. Maybe 20 a day. Maybe 20 a day. I don't even remember, to be honest. But I got to deal with Matt from the old group, from Chris's old group, prior to joining the text group. His Matt the Drunk Yard Dog, and I was buying pallets of jeans, mostly women's jeans from him. And so I was getting thousands of jeans in at a really good price. And so I needed to list them. And at that time, Chris was talking about a VA. So I hired a VA, and we went from whatever I was listing, which was 10 to 20 a day, to 50 a day within a very short period of time, a few weeks. And my sales exploded. Now, there were other factors in 2021, right? We had stimulus money, reselling was better, but my sales exploded. So I don't know. I don't know what's too fast growth. I think it's smart what you're doing, and you've already got good sales, so there's no reason for you to rock the boat. But as I'm trying to rework my store out of the shoes into the jeans and Western wear, I need to kind of get after it. Tommy says you don't need a group.
Val's question.
Okay, yeah, the chat's blowing up. Tommy says you don't need a group. You just need a group of small friends. It's free. That can be true. I believe that can be true. However, I would also say I wouldn't let $35 a month being in either group stop you from joining the group, especially if you don't already have the knowledge, because there are true experts in every niche, and it'll definitely more than pay for itself. Not to mention, I'm not a tax attorney, but it is tax deductible as an education expense. What do you think about the groups? about being in a group. Josh, you got any thoughts?
I like it. I like it. And I don't I'm I don't utilize it as much as I should. When I'm calm and chill and I'm in listing mode, it's good background noise just to learn and hear about um educating myself on jeans, listening to encouraging people how they went from 0 to X amount of subscribers on their YouTube channel. Um I like it. I enjoy the community. It's worth the money for me, but at the same time, I'm not. I don't want to pay to be in both groups. Um, so, but yeah, I feel like it's worth the money. But I also agree with the fellow in the comments that you can't go wrong either with that. Just 5 or 6 support group members, friends that do the same thing as you do. It's the same thing. You just don't have to pay, and it's a little bit tighter of a circle.
You can also get that group from YouTube. Like I have a group, like Val's one of them. Clay doesn't really resell much, but I talk to Clay a lot. Um, Greg, I found from the YouTube channel, but most of the others that I talk to are from reselling or from the groups. And we message. So even if I didn't rejoin the group, I would still have a group of people I could talk with and chat with. But I do think the groups are valuable, to be honest. I agree, you don't need them, but it's beneficial. Like the information that Andy gives on jeans in the group, like Andy, you know how much I haven't been on it. I haven't been on one of his calls in one. You know how much he grosses on jeans? It's an absurd amount. Like his ASP on jeans is very high, and he blows Josh and I out of the water. And he's very,
Yeah.
very knowledgeable on jeans. And you're not going to get that just from some Joe Schmo on a YouTube chat. Like he will answer your questions and he will give you advice. Like one of the things I learned from him that was very valuable, I never even thought of, was using a sander, right? A sander on jeans if they have stains, because you can't get the stain out. But if it's a valuable pair of jeans, people like distressed jeans aren't a problem, but stained jeans can be. But you could use a sander if you can't get the stain out to create a distress scene and to basically rub that stain off. And I was like, that's genius.
I do that with men's jeans, and I don't use a sander. I use it's kind of like a dentist tool, but it's like a shaver.
Okay, yeah.
And the type of stain, if it's small, it it looks better distressed than it does stained to the
Yeah.
to the jean wearing community.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, it's worth it with men's jeans. It's not worth it as women's jeans. If I get a pair of stained women's jeans, I'll still list them. I'll take a picture of the stain. I'll put it in both the description and the item condition. So I'm not trying to hide anything, and I'll just sell it at a cheap price. Most of my cost of goods are $1 to $2, and therefore I'll sell them for $8. Just get it out of my store. I don't want too many. And I've gotten better at, you look for, there's sometimes I go thrifting and I don't pick up anything I'll pick up 350 clothing items, 0 stains.
Right.
You just get better
that's the other thing. Yeah, try not to pick them up. And I see Tommy's. I need to get to all the comments. And yeah, that might not be a brain. That might not be a new revelation thing, but it's an example of something I learned in the call that I hadn't seen on YouTube. And like Andy has way more knowledge than that, right? He also can tell you which jeans, which styles, keywords, fade patterns. Like he's an immense fountain of knowledge in his category. And in the groups, there's a coach that has what's her name? The women's clothing call.
Michelle.
Michelle, oh my gosh, that woman, if you do women's clothing, I'd be in her call. She knows so much. But and I'm not trying to sell anybody in the group. You don't have to be in the group, but there is definitely your knowledge base. If you attend or watch the calls consistently, I think that's our keyword today, will grow. And you can get that knowledge in different ways. But I think the easiest, most condensed way is in one of these groups. But that's just my 2 cents. Clay, I have not done a Gene video today. I will be doing it later. Today is number 37, and I did pick up a pair of men's in this brand. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but after you watch the video, I did pick up a pair. So I will get that video up later today. Oh, Val, I think you're setting me up here. She knows how I've been switching between different categories. I had a good November in shoes. In December, for some reason, just fell out the bottom, and that's where the soul searching and looking at data came from. So, Val, I went back, I looked at the data, and in 2021, I had my best year, and by far, my leading categories were jeans, men's and women's, and then third was Western wear, men's shirts primarily, and my gross numbers have gone down the past couple of years since I've messed with shoes. Shoes are great. ASP is great. I struggle with finding enough, cleaning the shoes, and listing them in the volume. To list 50 pair of jeans a day, I can be done by 12 or 1 p.m. with my VA by doing that. And I've done that in the past, and my sales were much higher. So I'm going back to jeans. I will also be adding in some Western wear because that's geographically specific to me that I can get, and I know it sells well. I quit as the coach. I left the group and I quit. I don't know. I was just kind of bummed out about that whole separation, to be honest. I don't think I really dealt with it. I wasn't like Isaiah, who really, really was devastated, but I didn't like it. I like Chris and Tech together, and I wasn't happy when it's like when your mom and dad, it sounds kind of weird, like your mom and dad got a divorce. Like, what the heck? Why do I have to choose who I'm going to stay with? But I would recommend, like Josh said, every year I would do Atomic Habits and The One Thing. If you haven't listened to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I would strongly recommend that. There's a lot of them. We read so many good books, but after a while, a lot of the information kind of becomes repetitive. And so I don't know. I just didn't want to spend my time, even though I was getting paid to coach that call. I just wanted a break. Harry Potter, Val's reading Harry Potter. Fiction is good too. You gotta get your fiction in. I do read some fiction. Stephen King is my favorite all time. Akeisha's listened to Upflip for business, the midterm investor for crypto news. Okay. Thanks for those recommendations. Dremel took on jeans, been a hack for years. Thanks, Tommy. You're a wealth of knowledge as always. Yeah, I think I finally got your question, Val. Michelle does have a YouTube channel. I don't know. Do you know, Josh? Is she currently making content?
I'm not sure. I've looked at her videos before, but I don't know if I remember to subscribe to her. I was hoping you knew the answer to that.
I don't. I know she has a channel. I know she was talking about it, so maybe she's restarted, but I'm not 100% sure. But the woman
she's
is
also super focused on her own store and does calls, so I'm not sure if she's active, but I could get back to you the next time we do a live.
Yeah, I would consider her like Tech, like one of Tech's lieutenants, one of his, maybe a captain. Like she's one that'll fill in on a call. She's very knowledgeable.
The Tech of women.
Yeah, well, different personality, totally different personality. She's way more playful and will joke around. Like her women's calls will go off the rails with some of the conversation, which that's just a stylistic preference. I personally like it myself, but some do, some don't. But she's very knowledgeable regardless. What was your best sell for 2023? Oh,
this is a cool question.
That is a cool one. Huh.
So I tried looking it up. Um, like my most expensive, and I'm not sure if I'm able to order it from highest to lowest dollar amount for last year.
Yeah,
But
for the whole, I don't know about the whole year.
I got one on the top of my head, and there's a story behind it. So we went on a cruise, my wife and I, and I sourced in every single country. So in
Awesome.
Cartagena, Colombia, I got a Bible. It cost me $17. The
Hmm.
Bible was a Catholic Bible from 1957, and it sold. It took 6 months to sell, but it sold for $159.
Nice.
So it was a good. It helped pay for the cruise. Thank you. And yeah, it helped pay for the cruise. It was a cool story. It was a cool Bible. And it was a cool sale.
That is a cool story. I've sold a few Bibles back when I was doing estate sales. I'm looking on my order page on eBay, and I had 4,117 orders or sales last year. But when you go to the year, it won't let you sort it by total. Um, so I don't know. Off the top of my head, what I can say, I know recently I sold a pair of Lucchese cowboy boots on Poshmark for $220. So that was one of my higher ones. I probably had a couple in that range, but that's the one that comes to mind. I think my friend Greg, um, he sources sometimes for me, like boots, and I don't know. I think I paid $30 or $40 for those. I think I could be a little bit wrong, but that was the best flip that comes to mind. There might be one better. Oh, I did sell. No, wait. That I sold a Ladainian Tomlinson Nike TCU jersey. Um, Remember, I found it at Goodwill. For some reason, they had it marked for $3.99. This was in Fort Worth, and at the time I was a shoe seller only. But I was looking at shoes, and on the end of the rack, I saw this jersey, this Nike jersey, and I looked. I'm like, that's an LT game jersey for $3.99. I was gonna pick it up. I did my research right there. It's there were many that were selling for $150 and up, and I think I sold that one for $250 also. Paid $3.99. Um, so I don't know. I wish you could pull your data over the full year and sort it.
Yeah, yeah, you could pull it for the whole year, but you have to scroll, and
Uh, a
I'm
lot of
unable
scroll.
to sort it.
Yeah, that's so many pages when you kind of do semi volume, at least like I do. Yeah, you
And
lost.
some of my favorite sales aren't high dollar. Sometimes it's a repeat customer that buys 16 things. Those make me extremely happy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like those, or the speed of the sell too, right? Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you. And I own it. I do. I switch so much; it's easy to lose track. It's been between shoes and clothes for the past year and a half. Um, but so yeah, now it's clothes, primarily jeans with some western wear. I'm gonna do what's worked best, and it's more the processing because I can create a system. I know I can get like by the end of the year, we'll be doing like 80 to 85 pairs per day, and I know between my VA and myself, we can do that. And if I'm selling, even if my sell, I won't be at Nirvana, but if I'm selling half of that amount, right? If I'm selling 40 and listing 80, and let's just say my average profit on the low side, which it's way higher than this right now. Let's just say it's $10. That's $400 a day profit. That's almost 3 grand a week. Are y'all a one man show? I do it all myself. I do have one VA currently, virtual assistant. I take the pictures, I upload them to her dedicated computer, She uses Google Remote Access to go to that computer, which has eBay on it only, and she creates the listing. I also have her as an authorized user on eBay. She could actually do it from her account. Also, we've tried that, but we found the Google Remote Access works the best because I don't have to then upload the pictures on Dropbox, which is very time consuming. I just plug them into that computer. She accesses my computer from her computer. She creates the listings. Then each day I review them. But beyond her, yeah, it's just me and her. What about you, Josh? What type of operation are you running for the people?
So I temporarily had a VA to do a few listings a day on Vendu, but I no longer use him, so I don't have a VA. I have a part-time photographer. Um, she's a big help. I haven't had to touch a camera in months, and I also have a contract employee in the Dominican Republic that does my book purchasing and some replenishable purchases. And he takes everything to the post office for me and ships it to me.
Nice, nice. Now, do you think, like, what are your plans? All right, so let me tell you kind of my vision, and I want to hear what your vision is. So as I kind of alluded to earlier, like we're going to increase one per week, and I think we can get through 2024 with me and my one VA, me sourcing, me taking pictures. 2025, if things, I know I'm going way out there now. If things go according to plan, I would then hire a second VA. At a certain point, I'm going to need somebody to do photographs because, like, you've already outsourced the photographs because that's probably the most painful part of this whole process. It's not really painful, but taking pictures, right? You're on your feet, and once I'm doing 100 to like 150 per day, like taking pictures is going to take a lot of time. So, what is your vision? What are you thinking a year out, maybe in the future?
So my next step is my vision is to grow individually, meaning like become more productive and efficient so I could do this.
Like what Tommy's talking about on the chat too. Maybe you can incorporate what he's saying in your answer too. It
Oh,
sounds like
can you?
you're on the same wavelength. He's
Oh,
saying he's going for 10% year over year growth, but with 10% less hours. So more production, less work.
oh, that's cool. I like that. So I feel like I could do a lot more per day just by myself. However, just I do sourcing on Monday and Tuesdays. I don't do any listings on those days, but because Mondays and Tuesdays are so hectic with shipping, if I had someone to do shipping for me, I could do more sourcing. So my next step is to have some shipping help, but and I perhaps could train my photographer to do that, but I feel like I still have more growth to do individually before I start hiring people. Um, so I'm glad that you asked that because I'm the type that'll go crazy for a long time before I break down and crack and hire someone.
Yeah. No, I think that's smart, right? To really get your processes down, to get to become efficient. Because not only that, when you hire someone, you also have to train them. So how can you train someone if you're not a master in your field? That's why if you've ever used those what are those? Gosh, it's been so long since I used them. Those listing services where you pay per listing and they create horrible listings for you. Like, is it, what, gosh, I used them in the past a couple of years ago. I can't even think of them right now. But
Oh,
those VAs on those services are not trained properly at all. The difference between that and what I did is I hired my own. I went to onlinejobs.ph. Maybe I'll make a video on this. Maybe when I hire my second VA, I'll make a video. And I did an interview process, and like I had 132 people apply for the position. We went through a couple interviews. We did personality test. I gave them sample work to do. Like I knew how important it was to hire somebody that was competent. And then the other part is I knew I had to teach them how to list properly. And that requires a lot of video, especially at the beginning. Now, not so much. It required a lot of video conferencing on Zoom or StreamYard, where we go over how to structure a title, what are the important keywords, and it's just like the teaching process. I used to be a teacher, right? I'm gonna model it. Watch, take notes. I'm gonna talk out loud while I do this process. Okay, we're gonna do that the first day or two. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions for a couple days while we do it together. You're helping me, and then there's a phase where you're doing most of it. We're screen sharing. You're creating the listing with the pictures on the computer, and I'm there to correct and help. And then the last stage is the independent stage. Okay, we did these. Now I'm going to give you 10. This is your homework. You have 10 listings to do by yourself. Don't worry about it. Do your best. We'll go over these tomorrow. And we go over them the next day, and we make the corrections to those listings. And then we did that for probably a week or two, where her independent listings grew until it got to the point where she was getting it 95% correct. And then it's just, okay, I'm mostly reviewing those by myself. If there's an error, I can record it on the video. I can send it to them like, hey, here's a keyword that you might want to use for this item or this title structure. And then we still meet at least once a week to touch bases. So, but at this point, my VA is like 95% as effective as I am. And at this point, I've invested the time, and so I don't have to. I had to put that time up front. So I talked to Mark Rosales, our photography coach in the group. And we talked about this because I had a VA, my best year, 2021. I had a VA, and I quit because I listened to what Tech was saying that you can do 50 by yourself, which you can. You can do 50 by yourself, and nobody seemed to believe. Even Chris didn't believe that VAs would work. But I talked to Mark about this, and we agreed that the caveat to that is the training investment you put into your virtual assistant. And so he went and hired a VA, and his VA has been doing a great job listing 50 or 60 per day for 6 months or longer. And after I talked to him, I'm like, you know what? I need to get back to that because that was working for me. So I want to get back to what's working. I guess that's the theme of 2024. Val said, is this your best sell, Val? $6 for a pair of Chanel? No, for a pair of Gucci flats. Wow. 6 into 300. That's outstanding. What are you doing selling shoes, Val? Get out of there. And on Poshmark, an Arc'teryx jacket, 3 into 450. Wow. Wow, that's outstanding. And Val lives up in Colorado, where I do go sourcing sometimes. And there's some great, you got the mountain gears, you got the hiking, the climbing, the outdoor stuff. That is a good place to find like Arc'teryx jackets. I've never found one out here in my area. First time finding Gucci, they were my size. Yeah, you'd rather have the money than a pair of Gucci flats for sure. Josh, Akeisha saying your camera's a little low. Maybe you want to, if you can.
Yeah, I did address that, and I thanked her.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Why is TCU so hot? I sold a pair of Nike gloves. Well, yeah, that's a good question. I know last year they were in the national championship. This year they fell off in football. But yeah, TCU's pretty hot, and that one was specifically the LT, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Clay responded to that one, and with a really good response.
Yeah, Tommy, on mine you can't. You can only sort by order amount if you do it for 90 days. When I try to do it for a year, the dollar amount, the order total goes away. So I don't know what's up with that. I can only do it for 90 days. Um, question. Hey, and Josh, I know we said we were going till 5. I might go a little bit longer, but I know you wanted to get off here at 5.
That's fine. I want to hang around.
Okay, well,
I'll
no
hang
pressure.
around for more.
If you need to go, I mean, you're welcome as long as you want. But if you need to go, I understand too. Just wanted to let you know.
Oh, actually, while you address the questions, can I take a little break then? I'll be
Absolutely,
back in
sure, man.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Cool.
no
All
problem, man.
right.
Not a problem. Val says I keep getting a notification to sign up to try beta testing promoted listings on Poshmark. Are they saying it's free? Okay, I actually did this, Val. So what they do when you sign up, they give you, I think your first week is free. I think I got like $150 in free promoted listings on Poshmark. Um, I've done it a few times. I did do it pretty heavy in Christmas time because I figured a lot of people were shopping at that time. And my sales were definitely up. One week they were up like 5x, like every dollar spent on the promotions would bring $5 in sales. The following week it was like 7 to 1. So it does seem to lead to more sales. It's hard for me though. Like I'm still trying to figure out this question to do it consistently or not. I use promoted listings on eBay for sure, and Poshmark is kind of my backup platform, my number 2 platform. And so, do I also want to spend money to increase that sell through rate? I don't know. I'm probably going to keep testing it. But I did have some fairly good results with it, and sign up for the first one, and they'll give you like a week free with free house money. At least use that, and then you'll get an idea of what you think. Um, Tommy found a vintage 90s TCU ringer shirt the other day. Haven't looked it up. Yep. Val love promoted on Poshmark doing 20. What are your thoughts, Tommy? So Tommy loves it. I like it. I need to test it a little bit more. Um, do you know what your return is on those dollars being spent? Like, what's your strategy if you're doing 20 per week? I know that's kind of on the lower end. I've done I've done the lower end, like at that 20. I've also done like a 150. Just trying to figure out what is that sweet spot. Best part-time sorcerer. Yeah, that's what Clay calls when you go sourcing. You're a sorcerer. Yeah, the first week is free. Yeah, my sales were definitely up using it. Mm, I don't know. I haven't checked those referrals. I know I get them all the time, Val. So and so has joined. I'm like, I don't remember sending them a request, but yet I have no credit. So I think it's a glitch. I think you're right, but I don't know.
I'm back.
Tommy's converting. Hey, Josh, Tommy's converting some of his referrals. Maybe I need to look at that again. Um, I like free money, so I'd be happy. Clay says, Tommy, I think it's all because TC over 20 years built a great football program. The last year played in the final. The Roman schools increased so much. Yeah, that's probably it. They've had a solid team over quite a while. Val, you're joking, right, Val? The AI description is way too flowery at this point. I don't want to oversell my items. My descriptions are real short and sweet. I copy paste the title. I have a template where I have my measurements. Like for jeans, I think I got 5 measurements in there. And then I have a sentence about shipping, how we ship same or next day. Oh, and then a sentence about following my store, trying to get those repeat buyers. Let's see if I can catch up. Photos would be way more beneficial. The listing takes nearly 0 time selling similar off your own listing. Yep, that's the tech method. Sell similar off your own. But I think ultimately, if you want to scale, it depends on what your vision is, right? If you want to list 50 to 100 a day, you could probably one man that, even though it'd be busy. But like I've kind of got this vision of a team of VAs, like we're doing 300-400 a day at a certain point. And then I've got to put, I mean, this is down the road. Then I've got a photographer, I've got a warehouse. We'll see if we get there. But that's kind of my long-term vision. I know I can never do that myself. Keisha can't find TCU fabric for anything. Come to Fort Worth. I just checked. They took that away. I literally just did this a few weeks ago for someone to show data. Val's mom's fan is a Chiefs fan. Get some of that Taylor Swift action. Tommy says he's getting a 12-1 on his ad spend. That's better than mine. Yeah, at that ratio, that's totally a no-brainer. If every dollar of ad spend, if every dollar you spend on ad promotions brings you 12 in sales, yeah, for sure. You got to do that. eBay fees. Well, eBay fees are lower than Pasha's until you start messing with promoted listings and things like that. Plus, you can make money on shipping on eBay, which you cannot on Poshmark. Josh and I, we both talk about this. We make money on most of our shipping. I was telling him about a new promotion I'm using that's leading to a lot of money on shipping. So there's a lot of factors. I like them both. And my thought is I want all the sales as fast as I can get them. So you use them both. Like just a little while ago, I saw a pair of American Eagle jeans on Poshmark for full asking price of $25. They'd been sitting on eBay. They hadn't been there that long. They've been sitting on eBay. I probably had them about a week. But oh, and the good thing is Vindu, right? I think Josh has a video on Vindu. Are you doing a video on Vindu? Or is that in the works?
It's in the works. I just posted a video on Posher VA.
Okay.
It's one of the Poshmark sharing tools. My thoughts, the pros and cons, and at the end I rated it from 1 to 10.
Very good. Very good.
I just put my YouTube in the chat.
Yeah, very good. And, yeah, y'all check out Josh's channel. He's getting active on YouTube. Well, as far as Vindu, I think Vindu is great. And the great thing about them is you have your cross listing, which is fast. But the game changer is the auto sales detection, which will, if it sells on eBay, it will take the listing off of Poshmark and vice versa. If it sells on Poshmark, it'll take it off of eBay. That is a game changer to me, and like a no-brainer for what is it, like $70 a month? Whatever plan I'm on is like $70 a month. So that's like $2 and change a day. And like last month on Poshmark, I did like 5,600 gross, and on eBay I only did like 7,500. So Poshmark almost beat eBay for me last month. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of Vindu for those reasons. Val and Akeisha trying to meet up. Tommy's basing his promoted listings based on the size of his closet. That makes sense to me. And you're working on getting your whole closet. How much longer do you think before you're using your VA to get your closet cross-listed, right?
I was, but he just reached the end of his contract. I cross-listed 180 today. I know I'm getting close to Poshmark strangling me, but I've only got like 500 and something left, so it's just like 3 days. I can't wait till I don't have to do that. To answer Keisha, Vindu is it's a platform that helps you. There is a free trial available. If you're on eBay but you want to start Etsy, Mercari, Poshmark, and there's some other ones available, it helps you. It makes it easier cross listing, but at the same time, just like Brian said, the thing that sold me is the sale detection. That if something sells on eBay and you have it cross listed on Poshmark, it automatically takes it off on a Poshmark. And Brian and we discussed this, that it works good about 95% of the time. There are some kinks to be worked out.
Which, so I still double check, which I know is annoying. But I have the same title, so it literally takes 10 seconds. If it sells on Poshmark, to check my eBay actives, make sure it's still not active. Same thing, if it sells on eBay, I type that into the search on Poshmark. Same thing, about 10 seconds. It is annoying. I'll be glad when it's 100% or 99.9, but
Yeah,
it's 95% active. And so most of the time I don't have to do anything. If it did not take it down, then it's simple. I just delete it.
right.
All right, let's run this math, Tommy. Sometimes it does work out better on Poshmark. I'm not totally arguing with you, but sometimes it works out better on eBay. If I have a $13, let's just say I sold like a Dickies button-up shirt, I think yesterday. I sold for 13 on eBay plus $6.99 shipping. I have that standard shipping. That shipped out ground advantage. I think I paid like $4.50. Let's just say I paid $5 for shipping. So I'm making $2 on shipping. You are right. And I don't think it's right what eBay's doing. So I don't think it's right that they hit us with sales tax and fees. I'm sorry. I don't think it's right they hit us with these fees on the sales tax and shipping. They shouldn't do that. But let's say that same item, let's just say the tax was 10%, right? So what is that? 13 plus 7 is 20, plus another 10%, that's 2, so that's 22. Basically the money I'm making on shipping. No, that's it. And that's also assuming that you're doing promoted listing. There's so many variables. Are you using promoted listings or are you not? I will say many times, because I make money. Sometimes on the shoes, I'll make like $5. I charge $12.99 standard shipping, which is about the most it'll cost me on a pair of shoes. Like if it's going to Maine or if it's going to California. But sometimes they're going to Texas, and it literally costs me $7.80 to ship priority. So sometimes I'm making $5 or $6 profit on the shipping. That more than covers the fees eBay's charging. Plus, I'm making money, and so I know that for a fact. So I would say, on a case-by-case basis, you can make more money on eBay. Sometimes it works out better on Poshmark. When it works out better on Poshmark, in my opinion, it's because sometimes you can get a higher price. Customers are more likely to pay your full asking price, in my experience, and maybe they bundle. But the other downside to Poshmark, right? And Josh and I talked about this. You send your offers to likers. Well, it's 10% plus a shipping discount. So you're also covering the cost of the shipping. You never do that on eBay. So there's pros and cons to both. And so I would never put a blanket statement and say Poshmark is better than eBay. I would just say it depends. You got any thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, one thing, and I'm more of a eBay fan. Sales are sales, and I'll take a Poshmark sale any second of the day. But another thing in Poshmark's defense is there's a lot less chance that an item gets returned because it's 3 days versus whatever for eBay. I have a lot. Since I started the Vendu thing, I've had 200 sales and 1 return. So the reason for the return on Posh wasn't my fault. It was just the color looked different.
Yeah. So Tommy's very opinionated. You'll learn this about Tommy. We always have some debates. You have to make a 13% profit on shipping. That's true, but I usually make more than a 13% profit on shipping. If I'm making $2 profit on shipping on a $10 item, that's 20%. And I mean, I get your point. It's not cool that they charge you those fees on shipping. They shouldn't do it, but it sometimes will still work in your favor. If you set your shipping, like I never lose money on shipping. I always make money on shipping. Like on jeans, it's $8.99, $9.99 for some of the bigger men's jeans. The jeans will always fit in a flat priority mailer or the legal envelope. So that's $7.60 or $7.90 I'm spending. So I'm making at least $1 on that. Tommy says they can't remove items with an offer on Posh, which will never be doable. Yeah, that's a really good point, Tommy. That I was thinking about that, Josh. That's why sometimes they don't delete them because we have offer. I have auto offers to likers set on Poshmark, so they like an item, they get an offer, so it sells on eBay. They're not going to delete that from Poshmark because there's an offer on it.
And another thing in eBay's defense, if you're top rated plus, you get that 10% back on final value fees. So there's a lot of little nitty gritty things. eBay's a lot more I like the simplicity of Poshmark. You never have to pay for shipping materials. Usually you could use all priority mail stuff.
Which is all free.
But yeah, eBay, it's a lot more details involved, which could be good or bad. It's complex nonetheless.
Yeah. And you can set up combined, like I was talking to Josh. I just set up a new coupon where buy one get one 50% off. And so I sold 2 pair of shoes I shipped out. One sold for, I don't remember the exact number. Say one sold for 40 and one sold for 30. Shipping was $12.99 for each. So the 40 plus $12.99, I got all of that. 50% off on $30 is $15. So they got a $15 discount, but they still paid $12.99 for the second pair of shoes. Both the shoes fit into a large priority mailbox, 12 by 12 by 8. Actually, I know you're not supposed to, but I shipped that thing at UPS for $9.98. So they paid $26 on shipping, cost me 10 to ship it. And I don't care what you say, Tommy, that's a profit on shipping. That's way more than 13%. They did get a $15 discount, but I also send out offers of 25% off, which is really what buy one get one free is, like a 25% on both is the same equivalent. But I would say big picture, instead of trying to get this micro picture of eBay versus Poshmark, why not do both? Like if there is a difference, it's usually a small percentage. I want all the eBay sales. I want all the Poshmark sales. I'm not going to let nickels hold up dollars, right? I'll give you a deal. I want stuff to move, and I want both platforms doing their part. They both have pros and cons.
Yep.
And if somebody wants to sell just on one, that's fine. But to me, I don't know. You're leaving out. I do think Posh is amazing for the size of the audience, and if the audience keeps growing, who knows where Posh may end up. And if they get their stupid algorithm off of sharing, like it does hurt us bigger stores, right? When my store gets up to 10,000 items, I can't even share all my items once a day. Like I get hit with that cap. So that's an annoying thing about Poshmark. I think Poshmark, if you got a small closet, Poshmark is great, right? Because you can share the heck out of all those.
Right.
Yeah, Tommy, you still killing it with the running shoes, the Brooks, the Hokas. You still got that connection up there? Val, for a while I was on Facebook Marketplace. I guess I technically still have some listings up there. Every once in a while, out of the blue, one will sell. There a couple years ago, it was great for me, and then I just got diminishing returns, so I quit listing there. So I don't really list there anymore. Now it's just eBay and Poshmark, because you also got to factor the time spent cross listing. And yeah, Vendu makes it a lot easier, but still about a minute per listing, I guess, on average for it to do that. I'd rather get more listings up than have fewer listings spread wider apart, if that makes sense. And I think currently for me, eBay and Poshmark are a great combo. They're both very strong. And Poshmark does seem to be gaining strength. So I'm not married to either one. Whichever makes me the most money, I'm cool with. But if they're both doing well, I want both. Val says another perk to selling on Posh, if you're a YouTuber, it's a completely different audience. You want to explain that a little bit, Val? Like the demographics? Speaking of, I just sold some Nike Alpha. Looks like some football cleats on eBay right now. Yeah, Nike Alpha Fast Flex football cleats. Well, we've gone about an hour and a half. I guess we can kind of wrap this up. So we talked about 2023, where we were, where we want to go in 2024. Talked a lot about Poshmark and eBay, it seems like today. Do you have any closing thoughts today, Josh, on goal setting or just reselling in general?
I do, but not on either of those. Just on this community and your YouTube channel. I'm really glad that you asked me to do this, and I'm really glad that I agreed to it. I was kind of scared. But this is so cool. I've read every single comment. I've responded to a lot of comments. It's a good envy, but I envy you. This is a cool community, and I appreciate the company, and I will do this again with you, if I'm invited.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, I'm honored to be on this live with you, and it was cool talking to you guys. I feel like I met a couple new friends. But
yeah, I think the YouTube community, and that's what I was missing. It is great, even though I don't have a whole lot of people here today, but the people that are here are bringing some good content.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I'd love to have you back. We've done these lives with up to 4 people at a time. Val or anyone else that, if y'all want to jump on regularly, or if you want to jump on as a guest randomly, that's also an option too, to get different people up here talking.
Have you interviewed anyone in the comment section or had them on as a guest like I am?
Val, we did a series when she was starting her eBay store. So we did a few lives together. She's also popped on quite a few lives randomly. Clay, okay. Clay, when he was reselling, was on weekly with me for a while, but he's not really reselling. Tommy's always dropping hot sports opinions and knowledge in the comments, but no, I haven't per se. I don't think I've really done a lot of interviews on my channel.
Gotcha.
It's more informal. Get on here and create this community and just talk and answer questions. Like when I was more active, I got a lot of new people popping in, and it turns into a lot of helping new people, which is great. And that's kind of what my YouTube channel is geared towards anyway, the how-tos and what sold and whatever information I have that could be useful. I like to share.
Okay. Oh, I
Keisha,
he was on once.
oh yeah, she was. She's asking about ASP. Last I looked, mine was $32.99. My store is a blend of clothing and shoes. My average shipping was $7.17. My cost of goods is about $2. The money I make on actual shipping is $9.99. So I'm making almost $3 per item on shipping. And then Tech always has his runner numbers. So my average profit last time I ran it was around $19. It'll probably start to come down as I move away from shoes more into jeans.
Yeah, mine's low. My average sale price is $21.50. Now I'm a mix of clothing and books, so I can't. A lot of books sell for like $15 free shipping. I get them for like $2, $3, and after shipping, I make like $7 or $8. But yeah, that's why mine's so low.
Yeah, but you've done more gross. And
yeah,
with women's jeans, I know your store's primarily women's jeans. That's a slower sell through, but you're getting them cheap, and so that's more the volume model, which I personally love that model. I love figuring out the processes, being efficient, and getting a bunch of listings up because you can make a lot of money that way. Tommy's model is great. $40 profit on ASP of 70. That's outstanding. If you can secure that type of inventory regularly, I mean, you can't beat that. But most people,
especially having only 350 listings, that sounds peaceful to me.
Yeah, that's a great eBay existence. Tommy's going to focus this year is to grow local sales. It's almost kind of backwards, like the Renzi model. Like Renzi, they started out locally selling shoes, and now they're like whatnot superstars. Yeah, Val. Yeah, we're gonna start doing this weekly. I'll talk to Josh. Wednesdays may work better for me, but I'll talk to Josh and we'll do this live weekly. And if you can join us next week, and if you want to join us moving forward, that would be great. I find that with 3 to 4 people, these lives are even better because then you got just more perspectives, and it just makes it better. Tommy's always got the hot smoke. He's saying Renzi is smoking mirrors. No, his margins aren't going to be anywhere near your margins, and I don't know enough about his business to comment, but no, he sells a lot of shoes. All right. Well, thanks everybody for showing up today. This was fun. It's good catching up with some people. It's good talking to Josh, talking about what worked in 2023, what didn't work in 2023, and what we can do in 2024. Check out Josh's channel. You want to tell him one more time your channel, Josh?
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it. I also followed a couple people in the chat on their YouTube. Give me one. It's JJ Fashion and Books.
Yeah, and Tom, while you're posting that, I'll talk for a second. Tommy's saying they buy from Burlington, and I do a bit of retail arbitrage on new shoes, and I would like to grow that in the future. Like my model is it's a lot of like Nike outlets and clearance outlets. Like the cost of goods is probably about $30 on average, and I'm usually doubling my money, so they're selling for 60 to 70. But of course, I'm not netting that, so my margins are smaller. Maybe it's 50% margins, and it takes more capital to play that game. But you don't have to clean the shoes, which is great. And new shoes tend to sell faster than pre-owned ones. So when I say shoes, I will be dipping my toes back but just with the new shoes, once I get my cash flow right. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting. I want to get to 20K a month gross with jeans and Western wear, and then I'll take a percentage of that and start playing with the new shoes again. But I did that last year, and it was profitable. I just didn't have the cash flow to play that game big time. Yep, it was good seeing everyone. Y'all check out Josh's channel. I'm putting out content again, and thanks for coming out. We will see y'all next week. Hopefully, everybody have a good week.
Awesome. Thanks.